Well, as you can see, we're doing some wiring today. This has been a multi-day project. I've come out for a couple hours here and there trying to get some of this wiring done. I'm about 90% there. There's a little bit of wiring left on the lights, but that's about it. I'm going to walk through real quick and show you what I've done here for the wiring and why I've done it the way I've done it. Now, this wiring is pretty much exclusive to how I would wire a ham shack. I wouldn't wire my house quite like this, but for what I'm doing in here, I think it's going to work out pretty good. And there's a couple little kinks that I'll show you along the way that, well, you'll see. So here you can see I put a 125 amp sub panel in this room. Now, I have not run the wiring from the main panel to here yet. That's going to be in an upcoming video. But this is what this panel looks like. It's, what is it? A square D home line panel. And the breakers are fairly inexpensive for it, so I just decided to use this. The whole panel was like, I think, under 50 bucks with 2 breakers that came with it. But that's the panel I'm going to use. Here's the reel. I used to have one of those, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a spool for Romex. For the life of me, I couldn't find it. And for the 12 gauge wire I ran, I did the hand uncoiling with this, there's 250-foot roll of 10-3 there. And Armstronging that stuff, I just wasn't keen on it. So I built this little spool. I'll show you in a minute how I threw that thing together real quick. But the wiring for the lights, that's all 14 gauge. It's all going to be LED lighting. So I really didn't need to do 12 gauge wiring for the lights. All the outlets is that yellow wire. Those will be 12 gauge wire. And then this orange wire here, that's 10-3 wire for the 220 outlets. Now, this building has a 220 outlet right here below the breaker panel. And the reason for that, I'll walk around here, right over there is where the main ham desk office area will be. But in case we want to run a second station with a second amp and keep it a little separated, I figure this area right here would be perfect, and we'll put a 220 outlet there for an amp just in case we need it. We may not use that ever, or we may use it quite a bit. I'm not really sure yet, but I wanted it there before you get insulation and sheetrock in. Now, don't get too fuzzed up about the wiring. I haven't gone through and tidied it all up yet. I've just kind of tacked it down here and there to keep it in place. But so here we'll have a light for the main room lights. There'll be 2 lights in here. And then above my ham desk, I want a little track light. That's what I've done in my current ham shack, and I have it on a dimmer, and I really enjoy that. I can shut the main lights off and just use the dimmer with the track light, and it works really well. This box here, that will be for an outside security light. Hey, boy. But that's where that box will be. I didn't want it down here with the rest of the lights. I like it sitting just a little higher, so if I reach in, I can just quickly feel where that light switch is. So down here, I changed my mind a couple times on these. I was going to put quads in there, so 4 outlets in each box. But a couple, 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, one of the stores was clearing out a whole bunch of these single outlet boxes. And I bought a whole bunch of them, and I decided this project would be a good spot to use up a lot of those boxes. So instead of putting the quads there, I put the duplex ones there. And it should be fine because I've got power strips in my desk, so those should be fine. In a ham shack, you really can't have too many outlets. Now, this other box right there, that is going to be a outlet that's powered by an inverter. There'll be a small solar setup here with some batteries. I haven't quite decided yet how big the battery bank's going to be. It's going to be either at least 1,000 amp hours, maybe 2,000 at 12 volts, or I'm contemplating going 48 volts and I could probably drop that down to around 300 to 500 amp hours of battery at 48 volts, but I haven't decided yet. But that outlet right there, that's going to be powered from that. Over here, more, another 120 outlet right there will be the main 220 outlet for the ham desk. Right above it's going to be a Cat 6 jack right there. Well, there'll be 2 of them in that box. This is something I'm doing different this time. On the last Hamshack, I kept all the outlets about a foot or so off the floor. And it works fine most of the time until I want to do something different, and those outlets are just kind of a pain to get to. So in a couple spots above the ham desk, I'm putting 120 outlets. Those will have USB jacks right in the outlets. There'll be 2 of them up here. And those are split. I got actually 3 circuits in here for 120 outlets. All the ones on this side of the building are A and B. The ones, another one. The ones over there will be line C. Another outlet over here. There'll probably be a shelf right in this area, but I wanted an outlet in there in case I want to use it as a charging station. Here's another 220 drop coming down. That one's going to go plug out through the wall. That one will power the AC. It's going to have a mini split in here, so that's going to power that. So here in the bathroom, we'll have a GFCI outlet right there. It will also be ganged with that outlet right over there. And this light switch I have not wired in yet. That, of course, runs the fan that'll be in here and the light. This will be where the ham desk sits, and right over here, of course, there's the door to the storage area right there. Now right here, this is going to have a kind of a barn door, sliding door. And I kind of hated to do it, but I really didn't want a swinging door in there either. But I decided what I'm going to do is build a barn door right there. And it's going to slide back behind a shelf that's going to be right here. I'm going to put a lot of handheld radios and my camera charging gear, drone charging gear, all that stuff on that shelf. And that door is going to slide behind that shelf, kind of a pocket door. But I needed an outlet down there, and there's just barely enough room to squeeze an outlet in for that charging. It'll probably have a pretty good power strip in there. Over here, up on this wall, I know I'm going to want a TV in here at some point. So, and of course it's going to be a smart TV, so I wanted a Cat 6 jack up there. So there you'll see the Cat 6 jack that have two jacks in it and a power point up there as well, so I don't have to run the wiring down the wall for the TV. Light switch for this other room. In this room we want a couple either freezers or a freezer and a fridge just for extra storage, so there'll be outlets there for that. Most of this will just be shelving in here, but I still wanted some power outlets in here just in case down the road we change our mind on what we're doing in here. So there'll be a few outlets in here scattered around. Over here is where the AC or the inverter will be mounted somewhere there. The batteries will be probably somewhere down in there. And let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I got all the 220 lines ran, and I went down to buy this 10-3 wire, and I thought I needed about 100 feet. I went down there, and a 100-foot spool of it was about $145. A 250-foot spool was $185. So, you know, for $40 more, you got an extra 150 feet. Well, I thought it was a no-brainer, so I bought the big spool. And I actually wound up using more than I thought. So I'm glad I bought the bigger spool, because had I bought the other one, I think I would have ran short. I would have had to really cut corners to get just 100 feet. Now this room's kind of unusual because I'm using so many 220 outlets in here for amplifiers, hot water heater, that's the other one, which I forgot to mention. That's going to reside over here. You can see the wire run down there. I have not put that in a box yet, but that's going to be for the hot water heater. So, you know, we've got 4 different 220 feeds in here. So even though this building's only 21 by 24, you still wind up using quite a bit of wire. So I wanted to show you real quick what I did for the spool on this. And next I'm going to be throwing the 14 gauge on the same spool to spool it off. You know, you can pull Romex out of the center. I see a lot of guys do it, but it sure twists the heck out of it and it doesn't look very good. So I prefer to roll it out, and you know, you can hand uncoil this, but boy is it a pain. So let me pull just a little bit off of here and cut this off. I forgot to put a washer on the top, so it keeps snugging itself so tight it won't turn. So loosen that back up. That ought to be plenty for what I'm doing. So all this is a piece of all thread. And I thought it was 1/2 inch, but I think it's actually 5/8. I made this to where it would just pop off. As you can see, it's got a little piece that'll fit right inside of this. And what this is a piece of PVC pipe. I think it's 6-inch pipe. It's about 6.5 inches across. And I was going to use a coffee can. The coffee can was about the same size, but I noticed I had a chunk of this, so I decided to use it instead. The coffee can would work just fine here as well. So you can just put that Romex right over it. The bottom of it's just these, and I left these darn screws sticking out. They catch once in a while, and I could not find a right size washer, so that just a little steel plate on there that kind of acts as a washer. And I just put a 2x4 down here, screwed to the wall with a leg down. Seems to work just fine. So here's the 14 gauge wire. It'll spool off just the same. And had I put a double washer on here, this would not tighten up like it's been doing. But just like that, and this will spool right off of there. You guys want to say anything for the Ham Homestead audience?
No.
No? How about thanks for watching?
Bye.
Can you say thanks for watching?
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you on the next video.
We'll see you in the next video.
Well, what they said. Thanks for watching, subscribing. We'll keep you updated on this project as we keep moving along. The wiring's almost done, and next, it's probably going to be the roof. I've got it dried in with sheeting on it, but the metal hasn't showed up yet. So that's going to be the next bigger project. Then after that, we'll probably get some grounding done and rerun some of the feed over for our coax. So thanks for watching, subscribing, and she's trying to cut my arm off. Yeah, we'll see you on the next video.